My cheesy onion soup is a perfect way to celebrate autumn as the days draw in. This is a homage to the French onion soup, but there's a few things that we do in this country that are so good. I'm really proud of bread and cheese and a few little kind of hacks for flavor. So slice up 2 kilos of onions, red or white, it doesn't matter. Without being kind of too boring or geeky, if you slice an onion, it tastes different when you cook it to if you chop an onion. And if you chop it coarse, it tastes different than if you chop it small. And if you roast it whole in the skin, it tastes different to if you roast it whole without the skin. So like, that's cool, right? So we cut it this way. It's just sweeter and more delicious. So I'm gonna use a lovely casserole style pan, medium high heat, go in with some olive oil, a couple of tablespoons. I'll take a knob of butter. This looks generous, but I'm making quite a lot of soup, right? This is gonna be enough for like 8, maybe even 10 portions. And then garlic. Take 6 cloves, we'll slice these up. As soon as this lovely butter is sizzling away, get the garlic in there. I don't want any colour on this garlic. You just want to bring out those sweet flavours. And then I'm going to go in with the onions and lots of them. It's going to look like too much, but you have to trust me. We need to access the natural sugars in this incredible vegetable, and that requires a little time, right? So we want to soften these, and then as the moisture starts to cook away, we start to fry, and then we start to caramelize. I'm going to turn the heat up now, season it with some salt and some pepper, fairly generously. And then I want to take another little bit of inspiration from the French and have a bouquet garni, which is like a little bunch of herbs. So take a little bit of sage, thyme, rosemary. You could have a little bay leaf in there. Grab some string and tie it up, or you can buy them like this. That little bunch of herbs is going to give incredible fragrance and flavour. Turn the heat down to medium. And I am going to cook this down for about 40 minutes. But instead of losing all of this moisture, you can see the steam, right? I want to keep it. So I'm going to make a little lid. This is what the French would call a cartouche. But this bit of paper is folded in half, and then folded in half again, and then again. Measure up to the center of your pan. Slice off the end. Take the tip of your knife and just do a little cross like that. And let a little bit of steam come through. So if I put our little cartouche on top, or if you don't want to do that, use a lid, a jar. So what's that going to do? It's going to keep it wetter for longer. We're going to release more sugars, get more caramelization, more color, more flavor. So that's how you cheat out epic flavor. So I'm going to cook this for 20 minutes with the cartouche paper on top, and then I'll rip it off, and then I'll caramelize it for 20 minutes, and then I'll show you what to do next. I've just given it a little stir every now and again. If you look in the bottom of the pan, it's actually those brownings that are going to give this broth, this soup, the most beautiful dark color. So to help get all those sticky bits off the bottom, add a little beer. A British IPA, 300 mils, not too much. And I'm going to turn the heat up now and cook all that beer away. Now we're going to go in with the stock. I'm going to use a chicken stock. 2.5 litres goes in. Let that simmer for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then let's get onto the bread. I'm going to go for quite brave, kind of 2 centimetre slices. When I say brave, I mean like chunky, rustic. I find that if I toast it, I get deeper flavours. And this is not a garnish. This is part of the ingredients. That little bouquet garni on a leash has done its work. We'll get loads of lovely fragrance from that. You all right, Conker? Mate, sadly, you're not going to be able to enjoy this. Sorry, dude. Next time. And hopefully, I haven't burnt my toast. I'm going to take a little bit of butter for deliciousness. I'm then going to bring in another friend, English mustard. And then, amazing British farmhouse cheeses. You can use any 1 or 2 or 3 that you like. Things that are going to ooze really nicely. You want just enough cheese to sort of generously top your toast. Just use what you love. Use your little toasty barges to float on this beautiful sea of onion. And you want to submerge the bread, and you want them to be soft, but you want the top to kind of gratinate and go beautiful. I didn't think I had enough cheese, so I added just a little bit more. And then last but not least, a little Worcestershire sauce. And now turn it off and get this under the grill for like 5, maybe 10 minutes until it's just golden, crispy, oozy and delicious. Heaven. Just look at that. Oh, it's gorgeous. A homage to the fine, humble onion. Bang in season right now. Let's have a little portion up. I am very, very excited about this. Amazing colour. A beautiful, oozy slice of that good stuff. Extra virgin olive oil over the top. Let's have a little try. A nice wodge of those onions. They're so soft. Effortless to eat. So good. Even though that bread's been toasted and it's quite robust, when it sits in that lovely broth, it absorbs it all and it just softens. This is a brilliant soup to kick off the beginning of autumn. Whether you're growing onions or just down the markets and supermarkets where there will be onions like you wouldn't believe, it's nice to shine a little spotlight on that lovely vegetable. What a joy. I'm going to show you the most delicious recipe for homemade soup. A beautiful bowl of steaming vegetable soup with cracked pasta in there. It's a kind of minestrone. My family absolutely love it. I'm going to show you how to make a very, very quick homemade pesto that is pungent and full of flavour. The two together are sublime. So we've got good recipes here, but I'm going to introduce you to your best friend in the kitchen, the freezer. And I really want to tell you the benefits of using frozen veggies, having them in your freezer, and allowing you to really make delicious dishes full of all the good stuff. First up, let's get the veggies. So let's have a little look what we've got here. This is a bag of sofrito. All the supermarkets are selling bags of chopped up carrot, onion, celery, stuff like that. I've actually got some lasagna here. This is fresh lasagna that you can actually freeze as well, but of course you can use dried pasta in this dish. I'll put that to one side. I've got frozen peas, a classic. I've got some frozen stock made from the leftover carcass of roast chicken dinner. Just put it in a pan, cover it with water, any little bits of sort of veggies, some herbs, boil it up for a couple of hours, and then put it into bags, and you can freeze it for another day. Great for risottos and soups. And then I've got some frozen broccoli here. I've got some broad beans here. I'm going to put the chicken stock to one side. In a pan, let's make a beautiful hearty soup. Put that on a heat. We're going to go in with some olive oil here, like that. I'm going to go in with the sofrito. Sometimes supermarkets call it chef's base as well, but essentially it's the same thing. So we're going to defrost that and start to fry it off. And we want to get that caramelization, that sweetness of flavor coming out of the veggies. So mix in your sofrito. We've got our veggies sort of sitting here ready and raring to go, so they can sit to one side. So while this sofrito starts to fry and caramelize, I want to talk to you about pesto. Now, look, the jarred pesto that you get in the supermarkets, super convenient, like you get all kinds of different pestos. So 10 out of 10 for convenience. And if I'm being really, really honest, the best ones that you can get are probably a 6 out of 10 on flavour, right? It's impossible to get any higher. right? Why? Because it's all about these fresh herbs. If I want to make something that's truly jaw-droppingly delicious, then I want to show you how utterly simple pesto can be. So, this is 100 grams of basil, and I'm going to throw it in there with the stalks, everything, okay? I'm going to go in with a handful of nuts. These happen to be pine nuts, right? But it could be almonds, it could be hazelnuts, right? It could be pistachios. I'm going to use one piece of Parmesan here. I'm going to use a knife to take the rind off, and I'll tell you about this later. And I'm just going to break up the Parmesan like that into the machine. 1 clove of garlic. Lid on, 40 seconds. So that's 30 seconds. Then I'm going to go in with some olive oil and just give it a little pulse. Homemade pesto, done in about 40 seconds. I don't need to season it with salt because the Parmesan's got plenty of salt. Also, that story about the freezer being your best friend, it is. Now, if you freeze homemade pesto, that is going to always be at least twice as good as anything in a jar. Why? Because the freezer can trap all those perfumes. It really is very, very good. It's just get a little freezer mold like that, fill it up. You can take like a little cube of frozen pesto and put it on garlic bread. You could put it on a chicken breast that you're roasting, or, you know, a lovely piece of grilled fish, salmon, anything like that. You know, you can take a couple of cubes and toss it with some lovely tagliatelle. So this is about having homemade delicious food work hard for you. So if you whack this in the freezer, here's one that I froze. Look, that's what you get. Homemade, fresh, and without question going to be better than anything in a jar, right? Because it's frozen, not pasteurized. Okay, so that's a nice little hack that hopefully is getting you thinking. So the rest of this pesto, I'm just going to put into this bowl. Once you make pesto that quickly, you'll never buy the jarred stuff again, I'm telling you. So look, homemade pesto in 40 seconds, and also a batch in the freezer for a rainy day to go on all kinds of different things. So back to the pan here, I can hear we're starting to get some serious frying. Can you hear that? Let's just talk about frozen vegetables. So I think there's a kind of idea out there that frozen veggies are down market, that are not as good, that they're sort of a lower quality. It's an interesting one. As far as nutrition is concerned, it's highly likely that frozen vegetables are more nutritious than fresh. How can frozen veg be more nutritious than fresh? Okay, let me explain. As soon as you pick something that's fresh, the graph of nutrition is starting to wane, right? And if you're thinking about something that's taken a week to get into the supermarket or the market, it's just going down and down and down. It might look fresh, but the nutrition's depleting, right? As soon as veggies for freezing are picked, they're normally frozen within 8 hours, right? So it captures and it traps that nutrition. So from a nutrition point of view, frozen veggies are epic. From a waste point of view, they're epic because I can go in and I can take a little handful and just put a bit more veg into a dish and I can leave that in the freezer. So from a waste point of view, epic. Convenience, epic. So look, back to the soup. For fun, actually not for fun, for thoughtfulness, that rind of Parmesan, often that goes in the bin, right? So it's hard and it's salty. But what if I put it in here, right? So you can use that as a seasoning flavor bomb. So Parmesan has that umami flavor. It's also very salty on the skin. But when you put it in a soup, you shouldn't have to season much at all, right? And then interestingly, after some nice simmering, that hard, inedible Parmesan rind actually softens up. And then you can actually slice it up and then you can eat it. You can even sort of fry it and make it crispy. It's very, very cool. Now I'm happy to add the next veggies. So I'm going to go in now with just a load, no specific amount, of broad beans, peas. I'll go in with some broccoli here. I'm going to go in with the chicken stock. Of course you can use stock cubes and boiling water, but homemade chicken stock is always going to be really, really delicious. So in we go, and it's all going to start defrosting. This is gonna taste delicious in any soup, risotto, stew, curry. Like, it makes or breaks a dish. So in I go with 1.5 litres of lovely stock. So look, let that just melt down, bring it to a boil, and then I'll show you what to do next. So this has been simmering for about 15 minutes. Smells beautiful, thanks to that incredible chicken stock and that lovely base that we fried down. So look, you can see the color of the frozen veg is beautiful. So what I want to show you now is the pasta. This is frozen lasagna sheets. I'm just showing you this as a nice little hack. So what's great about this is, because it's fresh, when I got it, you can get it on bargain or reduced or whatever you want to call it. Just put it in the freezer. It's really good. If you take it out of the freezer, they kind of defrost really quickly. You can use it for your lasagnas. Sometimes you have leftovers. So we're literally just going to break it all up badly, like that. Big bits, small bits. And it doesn't take much time to cook at all. So that just goes in. You could, of course, use dried pasta. And for me, personally, when I do this kind of soup, I get all the odds and sods, the random bits, smash them all up, and just throw them in there. I like having small bits and I like having some big bits. So just stir that through. So that is looking and smelling very, very good. Nearly ready to go. Of course it's fresh, so it only needs like 3-4 minutes to cook. So let's get a couple of little bowls here. Let's get our lovely homemade pesto. So look, it's coming up. We're pretty much there. A little extra salt. And a little bit of black pepper. Stir that through, it's gonna be absolutely delicious. This is ready to serve, lovely people. Let's do it. A lovely bowl of hot steaming broth. Look, there is actually, let's pull that out. There's that Parmesan here. Let's just take that out. Chop that up and that'll just be a bomb of delicious seasoning and flavor that you can stir through there. So what I love to do is just finish that with a beautiful pesto. So there you go. Because you have to, a little bit of olive oil on the top, and that is a beautiful dish. I've got one last little freezer hack for you. It's one of my favorite ones actually. When you buy fresh chilies, if you've got too many, it happens to me quite a lot, I just throw it into the freezer, right? And if you freeze a chili hard, you can just grab a grater and you can grate chili frozen over the top like this. Look at that. Can you see what it's doing? And once you've finished doing it, back in the freezer. Enough yapping. Time to get slurping. Let's get a bit of pasta, get a bit of pesto, a bit of broth. Mmm. Oh yeah, it makes me feel really, really happy. Just gorgeous. And look, I've celebrated all things frozen today, and I think it's really important to do that. You know, being passionate about food, being a chef can't just be about farmers markets and growing. Like, it has to sort of look at the reality of life and convenience. And this is a really good one. And if you want to mix and match frozen with fresh asparagus in there, handful of spinach in there, of course, go for it. Swap out the pasta, go in with rice. Swap out the rice, go in with gnocchi. Swap out the gnocchi, go in with bread. Like you can just make this yours. But one thing is for sure, if you follow the little points of care in this recipe, you will be making some of the best soups of your life. Enjoy. Hi guys, hope you're well. We're gonna make the most delicious, comforting chicken and mushroom soup. The idea of a boring soup, forget it. We are taking soup to the next level. Cozy, deep flavor, amazing. And then how about we make the most incredible pulled chicken crostinis? It's gonna be comfort food to the hilt. So look, it starts here with the humble leftovers of a roast chicken. Any chicken drippings that you get, we'll keep. Any fat that you get, we'll keep. Bones, we'll keep. Even skin, we're gonna embrace, because they make beautiful things. And you'll be quite amazed how many bits of meat you'll get from all the little cracks and crannies here. Just pull it all off. So for the stock, you can literally take the whole carcass and you can break it up, get it in there. And all the bones, into this pan. In there, I'll put, you know, 1.5 litres of water. So we'll get that boiling up. And then kind of look around your fridge and your kitchen and just kind of look for stuff that could add to the flavour. So a bit of rosemary, the end of a bit of celery that you might not want to eat. Build this up to be a really beautiful perfumed broth. So next, we're going to do the base for the mushroom soup. So we can absolutely go in there with any of that fat. We can use a little olive oil, no trouble at all. And into that, we have a very, very simple recipe. We've got 1 onion, 1 clove of garlic, 1 stick of celery, and 1 nice sprig of fresh thyme. So just roughly chop the onions, and in we go. And what you're going to be able to do is caramelize the onions. So celery, in it goes, the garlic, and then you've got your thyme here. Just pick off the nice little leaves, like that. So look, now we've got some colour. It's quite dark. I like that. I'm going to go in with the mushrooms. Now, you can just go into there and just crumble it in your hands, pull it apart, break it up, because we're going to puree it probably anyway. Nice. So look, in no time at all, you can see how these mushrooms have cooked down. And it's just dark and frumpy and really kind of wintry looking. So now we're going to start turning it into a soup, okay? So I'm going to use a thickening agent, right? I'm going to use 1 heaped tablespoon of plain flour, just in the soup like that. So stir the flour in, cook it out a little bit, and then we can start adding this beautiful broth. So I'm going to use a little sieve because there's bits of herb and stuff in there. And in we go, look at that. Stir that in. So you want to put about 1 litre of stock into this mushroom base and let that simmer for about 10, 15 minutes just to let all the flavours mix up. Now you've got choices, chunky or smooth. There's no right or wrong. Now, the chicken, we could put it through the soup for sure, but how about this? How about we make the most incredible pulled chicken crostinis with crispy chicken skin and a little bit of thyme on top. It's going to be amazing, guys. It's going to blow people's mind. So get yourself some lovely bread. So we'll take the chicken here and any leftover juices, just mix it up and just place that on the toasts. In a really rustic, imperfect way, just pile it on top. I can put it back in this little tray. And then with the skin, just take it, slice it up and put it on the top. And it will go so crispy. So all I'm going to do is pick a little bit of thyme and just put that on the top. The perfume from that will be amazing. And I'll just literally pop this in the oven for like 10, 15 minutes. At 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. It's going to be so, so good. So look at that, guys. It's looking very, very beautiful. And this has been a joy to make. I'm going to use a hand blender. You could use a blender or a liquidizer. And I'm going to liquidize just a little bit of it. A pinch of salt and pepper. So that's good as it is. But don't forget, we've got those beautiful little crostini. And 10 or so minutes in the oven. Look at that. So you know that's going to be good. The crispy skin, right? People are going to go nuts for it. Okay, so this is how I like to serve this up. When I make this, I'm going back to the good old days. Right, this is cream of mushroom and chicken soup. We ain't just gonna serve that up. We didn't do that in the 80s. We have perms, we had flares, chamon. We're gonna take some double cream and we're just gonna kind of give it a little random bit of decoration, right? You thought I was just gonna make chicken soup, didn't you? No, 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 no. We're gonna take our little leftovers croûte and we're just gonna float it like the Titanic. We are taking soup to the next level. We might take a little bit of olive oil. Happy days, chicken and mushroom soup. Yeah. Hey guys, I hope you're really, really well. I'm gonna show you my recipe for the most delicious veggie mighty mulligatawny. It's a great soup, it's full of the good stuff. Let me show you how to make this beautiful soup. It's so simple. Get yourself a high-sided pot on a medium heat. I'm gonna use spring onions, but you can of course use leeks or onions. So 1 bunch we're gonna use. A couple of sticks of celery, which is just beautifully fragrant. So I'll just cut the celery in half like that. and then lengthwise into little chunks and just finely chop it. Just put a little tablespoon of oil into the pan. And then as you're chopping each veggie, just get that into the pan. I really love the kind of sweetness that you get from this. So again, just finely slice the spring onions. In we go. So give that a nice little stir. What we're gonna do now is just gonna take it a completely different direction. You're gonna get amazing results with curry paste. They're really good quality. You can get all kinds of different pastes, so pick your favorite. And we're gonna put 2 tablespoons in here. What I love about it is it's a great family dish because you can use up leftovers. But I wanna concentrate today on this. Butternut pumpkin, as they call it in some parts of the world. So 500 grams is about that much. I'll cut this in half. I'll use the end that doesn't have any seeds just to make my life a little bit easier. So I'm gonna leave the skin on. Why? Because it's one less job and because it has the most amazing flavor. So very carefully get yourself a box grater and just gently grate the flesh and the skin. There's actually something really nice about the kind of technique of grating. And I find that it kind of just gives you a slightly different flavor. Look at that, grated butternut pumpkin. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this into the pan and then let's grate the rest of it. And we're just gonna sweat that off for a little bit while I have a quick little wipe down. So I wanna show you like a little preparation that I love to do. I get a little bowl and I put in some cold water. I'm gonna use the herb coriander. I've got a nice little bunch here and I'm just gonna pick through it. So that top leaf that's nice and beautiful, that will be garnish for sprinkling on at the end. And then with the rest of it and the stalks, I'm just gonna finely slice up and put it into that soup. And look, if you don't like coriander, some people don't, I love it. You could use a little bit of mint, which is really nice. You could even use basil actually. So in we go with the herbs. It smells amazing. So look, at this point, I'm gonna season generously with pepper and I'll put a nice little pinch of salt in there as well. I'll go in with 2 liters of stock. The better the stock, the better the soup. You can use beef, you can use lamb, chicken, veggie stock, whatever you've got. That will remove all the sticky bits from the bottom of the pan and that will give you a nice dark color as well. And then 100 grams of rice. So look, I'm gonna bring that to the boil and then simmer it for about 15 minutes until the rice is beautifully cooked. And you should end up with a really beautiful, tasty, slightly thickened soup that's gonna be a joy to eat. Right, 15 minutes. So this has had just under 15 minutes. I can see already that the rice is swollen up. So it's nearly there. Now, I did say this is a great opportunity to get more veggie into this great dish, right? And we don't just have to use veggies or any leftovers, you can use the freezer. So 2 great things that I always have in my freezer are frozen peas and frozen spinach. So 300 grams of each, straight in there. Frozen spinach, sometimes people look down on, they think it's really substandard. It's a really brilliant little veggie to have in your freezer, ready to use. So now the spinach and the peas are in there, I'm gonna give it its last 5 minutes of cooking and I'll serve up. So it's been cooking away for 5 minutes. The rice has plumped up. It's absorbed all that lovely spice and stock. Have a little try of the soup. Oh, it's delicious. This is a really comforting dish. And what I quite like to do is put some nice kind of sprinkles on it. These are all optional, by the way. So let's serve this up first. Look at that. Such a hearty soup. The colors are really amazing. If you want to, just a little teaspoon or 2 of yogurt allows you to kind of ripple that through. So you can crumble up some poppadoms or some Bombay mix and a little bit of crunch, just a little bit of fun. And then take those lovely coriander leaves and just sprinkle it over the top. Maybe a little kiss of olive oil. So there you go, guys. That is a beautiful, exciting, big, hearty dish. Right, let's have a little try. There's something about having rice in a soup that makes it ultra comforting. So come on guys, what are you waiting for? Get the ingredients and have a little cook up. You won't regret it. This is a soup. It's a real heart warmer. It's such good comfort food. I'm making a soup like a minestrone. It's a pearl barley soup, loads of veg, and it's proper comfort food. So this is something you can make in a big pan. You can do a batch of it, so you can cook for a load of people or make it once and have a meal that you can reheat again in the week. So it's a cracker. Get yourself a big pan. First up, chorizo. 150 grams is all I need. Run your knife through the sausage. You can have some big bits and some fine bits. There's so much love gone into this already. Spices, sweetness, peppers. A little touch of nice olive oil to the pan. Add this chorizo. It smells incredible already. We're gonna get loads of veg into this soup. So 2 onions, just kind of roughly chopped. So in with the onion, and then we'll kind of just keep chopping and adding. And over the course of sort of 10 minutes, this will be the most tasty base. 2 carrots, cut them up any way you like, just get them fine-ish. And then celery. Celery's a funny one, it doesn't crack jokes or anything like that. But people think that it doesn't do anything, but what it does is it gives a fantastic base. We'll get 2 sticks in there as well. I'm also gonna add some herbs, so 2 bay leaves, dried or fresh. And then the whole thing of this is just to invest about 10 minutes in stirring and slow cooking this lovely base. Concentrating the flavors, it's gonna be so much tastier. There's another ingredient I wanna show you instead of pasta that I think is a brilliant healthy swap, right? And this is pearl barley. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can use it to bulk out things like soups and stews. It's really delicious, it's very nutritious. So it's kind of like veg, goodness, this is what we want. We want healthy, clever swaps. 200 grams goes in, stir that in, and let it soak up all the flavor. What I can do now is add some tinned tomatoes. Try and get the whole tomatoes, right? It makes all the difference. Break up those tomatoes with a spoon. You don't want big chunks in there. It smells so good. Wowzers. So you want about 1.8 litres of stock, veggie, chicken, or even water's fine. Like I said earlier, we're batch cooking, right? So we're doing a nice big batch. This will be enough for 8 to 10 people. So lid on, and once it's come to the boil, turn it down to a medium heat, let that simmer for 40 minutes to cook the barley, and then I'll show you what to do next. So it's had 40 minutes. It smells incredible. And there's one last ingredient that I want to put in here, which is cabbage. The cabbage family. You can choose any cabbage you like. Kale, I really like at the moment. So a nice wodge of that kale goes in. Any of the cabbage family is super, super good for you. With all these flavors, it's gonna taste so, so good. This is supposed to be a thick, comforting soup, but really you should adjust the consistency so you like it, okay? So I'll add a little bit more water. But one of the things I like to do, which is optional by the way, is if you want a little bit of kind of silkiness, just use a little hand blender. You don't have to do it, but it's quite nice to do in just one corner, right? Just to make it a puree, and then fold it through all the chunks. So you get the best of both worlds, from brothy, chunky, and sort of silky. So look, lid on top, turn that down, 5 more minutes, and then I'll serve it. Here we are, lovely people. A really gorgeous, humble, delicious thing. Really important, actually. This taste and season to perfection. Oh my God. Wow. Delicious, big, juicy, comforting flavor. Wow. It only needs a tiny bit of salt and a little pepper, and that, my friends, is a mighty, mighty soup. You could serve that with some bread, but it doesn't really need it. Lunch, dinner, a little pick-me-up. That is a beautiful, beautiful dish that's going to put smiles on people's faces. Let's have a little try. Oh my Lord. Wow, big flavour. It's smoky, it's sweet, it's really comforting, makes you feel really good. I just love it. So I really want you to try this soup, guys. Have a go at making a batch. And you know what, the healthy swaps? Genius, pearl barley, get a pack. So guys, it's quick, it's easy, it's healthy. What are you waiting for? It's so blooming tasty.